Hey, Pokedad fan club, it's me, Pokedad, and it's been a while since I've done a deck profile live instead of on PTCGO, but I have a good reason for that. I'm actually using some proxies from Breakpoint since it's just about a week away from coming out. I'm actually looking at an expanded deck. A lot of people think a couple cards from the new set are going to be broken, mainly Delinquent and Puzzle of Time. So we're actually going to try to break them. So we're looking at a Sableye Garbodor expanded deck today. Um, and so I'm going to just get right into the deck profile for you. All right, so the very first thing we start off with is Sableye. We have 4 of these. Now these are not the new Sableye. This is the old one from Black and White. It's kind of before my time, but because Pokemon makes regionals expanded this year, I kind of had to adapt. And so you can get these in the Darkrai versus Mewtwo Battle Arena deck. It has 2 attacks, Confuse Ray, which for a colorless does 10 damage, and then flip a coin if heads. The defending Pokemon is also confused. And then Junk Hunt, which is actually the attack that's used most in this um, deck, allows you to pick any 2 item cards from your discard pile and put them into your hand. So we can respam Crushing Hammers and VS Seekers for Team Flare Grunts, and we can keep knocking energy off of our opponent. But we're also going to have other ways to kind of troll our opponent, as you'll see as we go a little bit further. So Sableye is the main guy in this deck, and he's kind of the star of the show. We also try to spam Life Dew so that they have to take a bunch of prizes. So that's Sableye. We do play 1 Bunnelby. I had 2 in this deck at one time, but there's just so much stuff in this deck that I had to put in here that it forced me to have to cut it down to 1. Bunnelby is really only here for really a couple reasons. Maybe to end the game off, we can burrow several times. Or if we look like we're going to deck out, we can use Rototiller and get a few more cards back into our deck, give us a chance to stay in the game a little bit longer. This is a mill deck. We're not trying to knock anybody out. So Sableye is going to try to use hammers to knock all the energy off, and then we're going to come in with trick shovels and just keep respamming them also to mill our opponent. And so that's kind of the idea here. So we have Sableye can with 2 trick shovels can mill as much as Bunnelby can. So it doesn't really matter if we have to we don't have to necessarily use Bunnelby, so I was able to cut that down to just 1. Also playing 2/2 line of Trubbish and Garbodor. We really aren't going to ever attack with Trubbish, so it really doesn't matter which Trubbish you use. The idea here though is Garbodor. We play a 2/2 line. Garbodor has Garbotoxin. We can knock off all abilities whenever he has a tool on him. So we play some float stones so we can put a float stone on him, and when we do, he knocks all the abilities off. This really helps us against bats, helps us against well, keeping people from respamming shamans, so those kind of things. So Garbodor just shuts all abilities off. It keeps Keldeo from rushing in and Darkrai from being able to give free retreat. So Garbodor is a main man in this deck. He doesn't do any attacking, but he's just there to look pretty and make it easier for us so we can mill our opponent out. All right, now in spite of the fact that we are using Garbodor, we are going to play 2 supporters. We're playing support card Pokemon. 1 Shaman EX. This is really good at the beginning of the game to just help us kind of get set up. One of the problems with this deck is we could potentially get donked early on, and so we want to give ourselves the best chance possible to get through the deck as quickly as we possibly can, at least on that turn 1, to get us a couple Sableyes going, maybe get a Trubbish going, and then go from there. And then we also play Jirachi, just one of them. Again, this could come in handy early also. We can use a level ball to get Jirachi EX, and if we're stuck, we can grab Jirachi, grab a Sycamore, get us 7 new cards, and at least get us moving. And even if we have to throw item cards in the discard pile, no big deal, because Sableye can get them back. So that is our Pokemon line. We're just playing 11 here. So we'll go right into the supporters now. All right, now we play a lot of supporters. We play a lot of one-ofs for supporters here. All right, the first one we play is, we play 3 Sycamores. As we get into the game and get set up, we don't really need Sycamore. Matter of fact, we could mill ourselves out if we use Sycamore too much. But in the early game, Sycamore is really useful because we do need to get into Pokemon, get into item cards that can help us get those Pokemon. So we play 3 of those. But again, because we don't need them late game, we don't need to have the 4th one. And plus, we're running Sableye, who can VS Seeker grab the VS Seeker, and then we can grab VS Seeker and get Sycamore if we ever need it. So once we get the first one, we're really rarely in need of another one. All right, we do play a heavy line of Team Flare Grunt. We play 3 Team Flare Grunt, and the idea between this is Sableye can grab a VS Seeker and can grab a Crushing Hammer, and we can potentially knock 2 energies off every turn just with these 2 cards. Now, the Crushing Hammer is just a 50-50 shot, but Team Flare Grunt is a guarantee. So if they have some kind of energy acceleration, Team Flare Grunt and a Crushing Hammer can help us knock those down a little bit easier. Now, for the rest of these, we play just a bunch of one-ofs, okay? We play 1 in. Again, sometimes we need to refresh our hand. We need to disrupt our opponent, so we play 1 of those. We play 1 Skyla, just comes in handy. We can get whatever we need. If we need an Ultra Ball or a Super Rod or a Trick Shovel or whatever, we can grab Skyla. And Skyla can also grab us one of the other supporters to help us that way too. We play 1 Getsus, which can be very useful at the beginning of the game because if our opponent's holding a lot of item cards, if we Getsus turn 1, we might be able to move them down to just like 1 card or none. I've seen actually someone Getsus for 6 right off the bat, and that right there can be a game changer. That pretty much might even be able to win you the game right off the bat. We do play 1 Hex Maniac. This is mainly for the Vileplume. The idea here is we want to make sure we have a VS Seeker in our hand so that we can Hex Maniac and then VS Seeker for the Hex Maniac until at least we can get the Garbodor set up. Once Garbodor's set up, then we can shut the Vileplume off with Garbodor. We also play 1 Xerosic. Very useful in this deck because we play Head Ringers, so we can knock a Spirit Link off, or we can knock a tool card off and then put a Head Ringer on. So Xerosic comes in really handy there. We also play 1 AZ. Sometimes we need to pick up the Shaman so they can't get 2 prizes at the end of the game, or maybe we need to reuse the Shaman, of course, before Garbodor has come into play, and so AZ can be useful in that situation. We also play 1 Lysander so that we can, with Lysander, we can bring something up that doesn't have energy on. Maybe it's something that's Head Ringered with no energy on it, and it has a high retreat cost. It'll stall them out a few turns while we can get our Crushing Hammers going to knock the energy off of the opponent's other Pokemon. And then our final one, we play 1 Deliquent. Alright, this is supposed to be one of the cards that breaks the format. I'm not totally convinced. I have played it a little bit, and it is pretty good. The idea here is we can actually keep our opponent from having cards in hand, or at least just in top deck mode completely. Especially if they only have, like, we can red card them, and then we can delinquent and knock them down to just one card in hand. And we can do this multiple times because of Sableye and another broken card that I'll talk to you about momentarily. So that is our supporter line. Let's move right on into our items, and that's the big bulk of our deck. So we'll get into the item cards. All right, we're starting off with 3 Trainer's Mails. Now I know most Sableye Garbodor decks play 4 of these. However, because we had to make room for a card that I'm getting ready to show you in just a moment, we had to cut cards somewhere. And really, once we get 2 Trainer's Mails going, we really don't need any more. So we're just playing the 3 Trainer's Mails. We also play only 3 VS Seekers. Again, with the card that I'm gonna be showing you in just a moment, it's from Breakpoint. You probably already guessed it. We don't even need VS Seekers because we can pull supporters directly out of the discard pile with it. So VS Seekers become less needful with that card, and we're coming up to it momentarily. We've got 3 Crushing Hammers. I'd love to play a 4th one in here. But again, we can keep respamming these, so there's no need to play 4 when we need slots for other things. 1 Enhanced Hammer, again, helps us get DCE off, and if they do decide to play a special energy and somehow can accelerate a basic energy on, then we can grab Enhanced Hammer and Team Flagrant and get us a guaranteed 2 energies off that way. Alright, here's the card, which you've probably already guessed. It's Puzzle of Time. We're only playing 3 of these. I played 4 originally. But again, with Sableye, once you get 2 in the discard pile, that's all you really need. You don't need a 3rd or 4th one. Now, 4 would allow you to draw into them faster. So I will give you that. There is a possibility we could bump that up to 4. But once you have 2, you just keep junk hunting for 2 Puzzle of Times, and then you're free to get those puzzles any time. You're free to get the cards that you need, any 2 that you need. If you need an energy or another Sableye, you grab the Sableye and the energy, and then you junk hunt for the Puzzle of Times again. If you need a supporter, grab a supporter. Here's the really cool combo. Grab Delinquent and a Stadium, play the Stadium down next turn, and then you got Delinquent off, reducing your opponent's card's hand size by 3 again. If we can throw in a red card in there, we can actually, then the next turn, red card them, delinquent them again, and it actually becomes a milling concept because it forces them, they only have 1 card in hand, and then they have to, you red card them, now they have to draw 3 more, then you delinquent them again, they're back down to 1, so you really pretty much put 3 more cards in the discard pile, milling them that way. So that's a possibility. I think of the cards, though, I think instead of Delinquent, I think this card is the broken card, because junk hunting for 2 Puzzles of Time every turn, make sure you get whatever you need. You can get anything you need, and you're good to go. The other thing that's really strong about this card is we can keep grabbing Life Dew over and over and over and over again. And before, what it would have to do is, let's say they knocked me out, I would have to bring up another Sableye, and then I could junk hunt for the Life Dew, but they might knock that Sableye out, so it wouldn't be, I could only use Life Dew every other Pokemon. Now with Puzzle of Time, I can junk hunt for the Puzzle of Times. If they knock me out, I bring in my next Sableye, I play the 2 Puzzle of Times, and go ahead and grab the Life Dew and put it back on, continually deny, and I can even grab the Sableye back, put it in, and I'm going to continually deny them prize cards. It's really, really awesome to be able to do that kind of stuff. All right, now we play 2 level balls. That allows us to grab Jirachi allows us to get the Sableye, get the Bumblebee, get the Trubbish, and then we play 2 Ultra Balls, which allow us to get Shaman and Garbodor. So we play a 2-2 split here. And again, if you get Puzzle of Time early on, it's kind of funny because you can then, like if you used a Level Ball and a Trainer's Mail, but have 2 of these early on, you can Puzzle of Time to get both of these back on turn 1 potentially, and then you can get set up much faster just because of the Puzzle of Times. All right, we play 2 Trick Shovels. Once we get to a point where energy becomes, they don't seem to have very much energy, or their hand is locked so they can't really do much, we can go ahead and begin milling them. So we use Trick Shovels, and sometimes I don't even, one thing that's cool about this is when you play it, technically your opponent's not supposed to be able to see the card that you look at. So you can look at it and put it back on their deck. If they're drawing into something that you know is going to be useless to them, then you can just put it right back on, and then potentially mill the next, after they draw that, mill their next couple cards, which could be much better. We also play 2 Float Stones. Again, this goes on Garbodor to make him Garbotoxin to go into effect. We also play 2 Head Ringers. I'll move them, I guess, right here. Again, this is very useful, especially when we're playing EX decks, because we can't use it in any other decks. But Head Ringer is very nice. We do play the 1 red card. Again, that helps us. We can set that up with the Deliquent combo. Now it's a 3-card combo. We need a Stadium, but if they happen to play a Stadium down, then we can grab red card Deliquent, and we can, especially if we just did Deliquent to them, they only have, let's say they only have 1 or no cards in their hand, we can red card them put them 4 in their hand, which will mill them again, and then we can Deliquent them back down to 1. So that can be very useful. We do play 1 Tool Scrapper. It's very useful to, again, also get off Rock Guards and Spirit Links, and also, yeah, that's pretty much it. If a Head Ringer comes onto our Shaman or something, or Jirachi, we can get those off too, but that's not as important. We also play 1 Life Dew, which is the ace spec of this deck. 1 Super Rod to help us get energies and Pokemon back into the deck. Alright, and that's all the item cards, guys. So it's a pretty hefty line of item cards. Not leaving us much for energy and stadiums, but we'll talk about those now. So as far as energy goes, we just simply play 6 Dark Energies. Works with any of the Pokemon that we need. I mean, if we're Sky Returning, we're going to have a problem anyway because it's a double attachment. So that's not ideally what we want to do. And Jirachi can't attack with that, but we never attack with Jirachi anyway. The other potential card, I guess you could attack with Trubbish if you absolutely needed to. But again, we're just using Bumblebee and Sableye, so they're going to be the ones getting the energy for the most part. And then for stadiums, since we are using Deliquent, we do have to play a couple stadiums. So we're playing 2 Silent Labs. And again, this can be very useful, especially after we've used our own Jirachi or our Shaman EX. Play our stadium. If they don't have a counter stadium, then they're stuck from being able to use their Shamans and their Jirachis, which allows us to kind of get set up a little bit. Also, again, slows down Keldeo, slows down Darkrai, and kind of allows us to get Garbodor set up a little bit faster, so that then we shut down all the abilities. So anyway, guys, that is the deck. That's the Sableye Garbodor. I guess you could say Bumblebee deck. But anyway, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. Guys, hit like for me. I'm trying to get 40 likes on this video, so I'd really appreciate every like that you can give me. It takes just a second, so I'd really, really appreciate that. And then finally, if you haven't subscribed to us, We really welcome that. We try to bring the best content possible, so hit that subscribe button for us. Anyway, guys, this is Pokedad signing off. Take care. Bye.